Welcome back to the Business Book Club.
Great to be back.
Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a book that has truly shaped strategic thinking in boardrooms everywhere, really. It's The McKinsey Way by Ethan M. Rasiel.
A classic in its field.
It really is. And look, this isn't just some, dry corporate manual. It's a fascinating peek behind the curtain at McKinsey, one of the world's top consulting firms.
But more than that, right?
Exactly. More importantly, it distills their, frankly, powerful problem-solving techniques into things you can actually use. Actionable insights.
Yeah, whether you're building a startup, leading a team, or honestly, just facing a tricky challenge in your own work.
That's right. So our mission today is to pull out those vital nuggets of wisdom. Because as you said, this isn't just about what McKinsey does.
No, it's about how they think, how they work, how they solve these really complex challenges.
Right.
Rasiel shares these core principles that let them tackle, hugely diverse industries and issues. And we want to unpack how you can apply these same approaches.
Give you that shortcut, maybe, to being well-informed and well-effective.
That's the goal.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Imagine you're facing a really stubborn problem in your business.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe sales are flat, or that new product launch is just not quite hitting the mark. How do you even start tackling that?
Where do you begin?
Well, the book lays out 3 fundamental attributes. These define McKinsey's whole problem-solving process. They're like the bedrock.
The pillars everything else rests on.
Exactly. It's got to be fact-based, rigidly structured, and hypothesis-driven. Let's start with facts. Why are they so non-negotiable?
Facts are absolutely your best friends. Seriously. In problem solving at McKinsey, everything begins and ends with them.
Okay, but why? What's the deep reason?
Well, think about it. These consultants, they're often parachuting into industries they aren't experts in, right?
Total generalists sometimes.
Exactly. So how do they gain immediate credibility? How do they avoid making those gut instinct errors that maybe a seasoned industry insider might make?
Okay. Facts.
Facts. If you're, say, a 27-year-old just out of business school presenting to a Fortune 50 CEO, you need an overwhelming weight of facts behind you.
Makes sense. Credibility.
It's credibility, but also, as Rasiel warns, and it's a great quote, hiding from the facts is a prescription for failure. Eventually, truth will out.
Oof.
You must not fear the facts. Hunt for them, use them, but don't fear them. So for you, listening, think about how relying on facts, really grounding yourself in them, can empower your next presentation or decision. It builds that unshakable credibility.
Beyond just I think or I feel.
Way beyond opinion.
Okay, so facts are the raw material. The bricks, maybe. But just having a pile of bricks doesn't automatically build a house, does it?
No, you need a blueprint structure.
Right, so how do you organize those facts? The book introduces this concept that's practically a mantra at McKinsey. MECE, pronounced MECE.
Yes, MECE.
What exactly does that mean, and why is it so crucial?
Okay, MECE stands for mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive.
Okay, break that down.
Right. It's basically a framework for structuring your thinking to make sure it's super clear and totally complete. You cover all the bases, but without any overlap.
Got it. So mutually exclusive.
Means each item on your list of issues or factors or whatever you're breaking down, it's completely separate and distinct. No confusion, no double counting.
Okay. And collectively exhaustive.
Means your list includes every single relevant aspect of the problem, so nothing important gets missed. You've covered the whole universe of the issue.
Can you give an example, maybe with that e-commerce sales problem?
Sure. So sales are flat. MECE list of top-level issues is something like 1, issues with customer acquisition, 2, issues with customer retention, and 3, issues with product pricing or profitability.
Okay, I see. So things like improving the website design, where would that fit?
Good question. It wouldn't be its own top-level item. It'd likely fall under customer acquisition if it's about attracting new people, maybe customer retention if it impacts repeat buys. See how it slots in.
Yeah, it avoids just having a laundry list of tactics.
Exactly. And McKinsey finds a good issue list usually has, say, 2 to 5 top-line issues. 3 is often the sweet spot. It's just a really powerful way to break down any complex challenge. Ensures you're thorough but not messy.
That makes perfect sense. It forces a really disciplined approach, doesn't it?
It really does.
So, okay, you've got your facts. You've structured your thinking using MECE. Now, here's where it gets, for me anyway, really interesting. You don't just wait for the answer. You form something called an initial hypothesis, or IH.
Right, the IH.
Why do that? Why try to, solve the problem before you've actually done all the deep analysis? Seems kind of backwards.
It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but it's one of the most effective parts of the McKinsey Way. The IH is essentially, well, it's an educated guess.
Right.
It's a roadmap. A theory you then set out to prove or disprove. Think of it like saying, okay, based on what we know right now, we think the solution is X.
Our best guess is.
Exactly. Now let's go gather the specific data to see if X holds up, or if the data points us somewhere else entirely. Ah, okay, so what if it's right?
If your IH is correct, brilliant. Your work then is mostly about filling in the details, quantifying the impact, building the case with that factual analysis.
And if it's wrong, which must happen a lot.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And that's okay. The process of disproving a wrong hypothesis is incredibly valuable. It provides crucial information that actually leads you towards the right answer. You learn what isn't the problem.
So failure is data.
Absolutely. Failure is learning. These IHs, they emerge from combining those initial facts with that structured MECE thinking. You break problems into key drivers.
Key drivers.
Yeah, the fundamental factors or levers that most significantly influence the outcome you're trying to achieve. Then you make actionable recommendations based on the hypothesis, and that forms an issue tree.
An issue tree, like a visual map.
Kind of, yeah. A visual breakdown, like branches, showing all the potential causes or components of the problem. It helps you explore every angle systematically.
That sounds intense. Probably best not done alone. Definitely best in teams. As the book points out, most of us are poor critics of our own thinking. We need other people to poke holes in our ideas, challenge our assumptions.
That's true. So imagine starting your next big project with a really clear, testable theory right from the get-go.
It just streamlines everything, focuses the effort.
Okay, so knowing these core pillars,
Yeah.
facts, MECE, IHs, that's the foundation. But applying them in the messy real world, that takes flexibility.
Right, absolutely. Theory is one thing, practice is another.
The book highlights several crucial nuances here, ways you need to adapt your approach, starting with a really powerful warning. The problem is not always the problem.
Yes, this is huge.
Because often we're just given a problem description and we run with it, don't we?
We do, but just like a doctor doesn't just rely on a patient saying, I think I have X. You shouldn't always accept the problem as it's initially presented.
You got to dig deeper.
You have to. Get more facts, ask those probing, sometimes uncomfortable questions, uncover the real root cause.
Like the example you gave earlier. The client says sales are too low.
Right. But maybe after analysis, you find the real problem isn't the sales effort itself, but terrible customer service leading to poor retention. The symptom isn't the disease.
So you have to kind of re-diagnose.
You do. And if you find problem X is actually problem Y, you absolutely need to go back and explain that shift. It takes courage, but you have to address the real issue for a real solution.
Okay. And once you do know the real problem, you don't necessarily have to build every single solution from absolute scratch. I love this idea. Don't reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. Save yourself some time and effort. Most business problems, while they feel unique to us, often share underlying similarities with problems others have faced.
So you can leverage existing knowledge.
Precisely. A small number of proven problem-solving techniques and frameworks can actually answer a pretty broad range of questions. McKinsey uses tools like Forces at Work. It's a framework to quickly map out the competitive landscape. You look at suppliers, customers, competitors, potential substitutes, internal changes. It helps you see the big picture pressures fast.
So you're not starting from zero every time.
Right. The book mentions using established frameworks like business process redesign just to get a handle on reorganizing an IT department. You can adapt existing tools, existing knowledge within your own organization. Look for patterns.
Okay, but even if the tools or frameworks might be similar, the solutions themselves have to be unique, don't they? You can't just copy-paste.
Absolutely not. And that's the next point. Every client is unique.
Makes sense.
There are no cookie-cutter solutions. The book uses a pricing example. Maybe 8 out of 10 times the analysis suggests raising prices.
Okay.
But you must still do the fact-based analysis for this specific client because maybe in their case, the answer is actually to lower prices. You can't assume.
Don't just trust your gut or past patterns blindly.
Exactly. Trust and verify with facts. You have to tailor fit your recommendations to your specific situation, your unique business context. Critical.
Okay, so let's talk about that initial hypothesis again.
Hmm.
What if your brilliant IH, the one you were kind of excited about, turns out to be dead wrong when the facts come in?
Yeah.
It's easy to get attached to our own ideas.
Oh, it's incredibly easy. And that's where the discipline of don't make the facts fit your solution comes in. It's a tough one.
I bet.
No matter how insightful or elegant your initial theory feels, you must be prepared to accept it, even discard it when the facts prove you wrong.
Don't try to force it.
Right. Rasiel says, don't try to pound them into your framework like square pegs into round holes. He tells this cautionary tale about a manager who got obsessed with a theory about leakage in insurance claims.
Okay.
The facts showed the leakage was minimal, but he wouldn't let go. He kept pushing his team down that path, almost tanking the project and his own credibility because he was clinging to a wrong assumption.
Wow. So you need that intellectual honesty.
Yeah. You absolutely do. You have to regularly step back, ask, okay, what have we actually learned and how might this change our hypothesis? It stops you from just chasing down blind alleys, wasting time and energy.
Yeah, okay. And this feels like it leads directly to a really critical point about implementation. Because a brilliant idea on paper is useless if it just sits on a shelf.
Right, precisely. It's maybe the most important reality check. Make sure your solution fits your client.
Fits them how?
Yeah.
Like culturally, resources.
All of the above. The most brilliant solution, even one projecting billions in profit, is totally useless if the organization simply can't implement it.
Why not?
Could be political reasons, as the book says, internal resistance. Could be lack of resources, money, people, technology. Could just be they lack the capability or the will.
So you need to be realistic.
Extremely realistic. The book tells a story about a financial firm rejecting a massive satellite savings idea, $170 million, just because they were already too committed politically to a different path.
Wow. So your solution has to map to their actual strength, weaknesses, capabilities.
Yes. As the book puts it, when academic ideals meet business realities usually win. Your job is to bridge that gap, make it workable for them.
Okay. Now, what if a problem is just so vague, so messy at the start, that you can't even form a decent initial hypothesis? You don't have enough facts yet.
Yeah, that happens. It can feel overwhelming. But the advice is, sometimes you have to let the solution come to you.
Don't panic.
Don't panic. Trust the process. The book is really reassuring here. Any McKinseyite will tell you that no business problem is immune to the power of fact-based analysis.
So just start gathering facts, even without a clear path.
Exactly. There's a great story about a team tasked with cutting costs in a bank's back office. They were initially dismissed as too inexperienced, but they just focused on gathering facts, digging into the data. And they found one specific product line, representing only 5% of the business, was driving 50% of the cost.
Whoa, that's the solution right there.
Pretty much. It wasn't obvious at the start. They didn't have an IH about that. But by just doing the grinding work of fact-based analysis, the solution eventually revealed itself.
Trust the process. I like that.
It works.
Okay, last one in this section. What about those problems that seem genuinely unsolvable? You know, the data's missing, internal politics are just a nightmare.
Yeah, the really thorny ones. The advice. Solve them anyway.
Easier said than done. How?
You have options. The book talks about a study where client factions were literally blocking access to data and people. Sabotage, basically.
Yikes. What do you do then?
Well, one option is to redefine the problem. Find a related but solvable problem that still delivers significant value, even if it's not the original grand challenge.
Okay, pivot slightly.
Or you can tweak your way to a solution. And maybe you can't implement the perfect fix all at once, but you can make incremental, optimal changes over time as conditions improve or politics shift.
Baby step.
Sometimes. And crucially, you work through the politics. Understand that politics, at its core, is just people acting in their own interests.
So you got to understand those interests.
You have to. Build consensus. Address different incentives. Maybe compromise on your ideal solution to get something meaningful done. Understanding that human element is absolutely key.
That's a whole skill set in itself.
It really is.
Okay, so beyond these core ways of approaching problems, the book also offers this collection of really practical, almost like rules to live by for working efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, the toolkit section, almost.
And probably the most famous one is the 80-20 rule. How does McKinsey use this? It's not just a cool stat, right?
No, it's a powerful analytical lens, the Pareto principle.
Right.
Roughly 80% of effects come from 20% of the causes. Like 80% of your sales will come from 20% of your sales force.
We've all heard variations of that.
Right. But the key is applying it to brutally prioritize. We often try to improve everything equally, spread resources thin. 80-20 forces you to ask, where's the real leverage?
So find that critical 20%.
Find it and focus on it. The book tells how this helped a brokerage realize 80% of sales came from 20% of brokers. Okay, fine. But the insight was asking, are we spending 80% of our training budget on the 80% of brokers delivering only 20% of results?
Misalignment.
Big time. Applying 80/20 meant potentially shifting resources dramatically, maybe even stopping support for the underperforming 80% a tough call, but driven by the data. It helps you focus effort where it matters most.
Makes sense. And with all this analysis, how do you avoid just drowning in data? Information overload is real.
Totally real. And the rule for that is don't boil the ocean.
Love that phrase.
Me too. It means work smarter, not harder. Gather just enough facts to prove or disprove your hypothesis. That's it.
Not every single possible data point.
Exactly. Anything more is a waste of precious time and energy. Rasiel tells a funny story about his manager stopping him late at night from overanalyzing some competitor data, just saying, don't boil the ocean, stop. Focus. And this ties directly into find the key drivers. Concentrate on the handful of factors that really move the needle for your business. Ignore the noise. Avoid getting bogged down in complexity that doesn't matter.
Like astronomers ignoring minor planets when plotting a big trajectory.
Perfect analogy. Find the sun and the major planets affecting your course.
Okay, so you've done the analysis, you've found the key drivers, you have your solution. How do you make sure it's actually clear and concise? That you can communicate it effectively?
The elevator test. Classic.
Explain that.
The idea is you should know your solution so thoroughly, so deeply, that you can explain it clearly and precisely to your CEO or any key stakeholder in about 30 seconds, the time it takes for an elevator ride.
Wow, that really forces you to distill it.
It forces you down to the absolute core message. What are your top recommendations and what's the payoff? If you can't explain it simply, the thinking goes, you probably don't understand it well enough yourself.
Good test. And in a long project, it's not always about waiting for that big final reveal, is it? Sometimes you need wins along the way.
Absolutely. You need momentum, you need buy-in. That's where pluck the low-hanging fruit comes in.
Easy wins.
Seize opportunities for immediate, relatively easy wins during a longer engagement. These small victories do wonders for morale, they build credibility with the client, and they keep everyone engaged while you're tackling the bigger, harder stuff.
Like showing some early data findings?
Exactly. The book mentions presenting initial findings to a stockbroker client early on. Didn't solve the whole problem, but it showed progress, built trust, and made the rest of the project much smoother. Don't wait for perfection if you can deliver value now.
Smart. Now, for just keeping your own thoughts organized day to day, I really like this next one. It seems so simple but powerful.
Make a chart every day. Yeah, it's a great discipline.
What's the practice?
At the end of each day, just take maybe half an hour. Ask yourself, what are the 3 most important things I learned today? And document them.
Doesn't have to be fancy.
Nope. Simple bullet points, a quick sketch on a whiteboard, whatever works. The act of crystallizing those key insights ensures you don't lose valuable nuggets in the daily rush of meetings and analysis. It forces reflection and clarity.
Good habit. And thinking longer term about career effectiveness, there's a great baseball analogy in the book.
Right. Hit singles.
Meaning,
don't always try to be the hero swinging for the fences, hitting home runs. It's often much better and more sustainable to consistently get to first base.
just do your job well, reliably.
Exactly. Do your assigned task well, deliver consistently, day in, day out. Trying to wildly overperform once can set unrealistic expectations. Then, if you can't repeat it, your credibility actually drops.
Consistency builds trust.
Over time, absolutely. Even the greatest home run hitters struck out a lot. Reliability wins in the long run.
Yeah. And it's so easy, isn't it, to get lost in the weeds?
Yeah.
Just focusing on the immediate task without connecting it back.
So easy. That's why the next rule is critical. Look at the big picture. Periodically, consciously, take that mental step back. Ask yourself, how does what I'm doing right now actually help solve the overall problem we're tackling?
Is this the most important thing I could be doing?
Precisely. It keeps your efforts aligned with the ultimate goal. Stops you from spending hours on some interesting analysis that's actually irrelevant to the core problem. Maintains that strategic focus.
Essential. Okay, finally, 2 pieces of advice that are kind of related, both about truth and knowledge. One is about being honest with yourself.
Just say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fundamental professional integrity.
Don't bluff.
Never bluff. Admitting you don't have the answer right now is far, far less costly than pretending you do and getting caught. Rasiel shares a funny story about getting a picture frame with that exact phrase after being unprepared in a meeting. Humility and honesty.
Okay. But then, conversely.
Conversely, don't accept I have no idea.
So when someone else says they don't know.
Treat it as a starting point, not an ending point. often, I don't know, is just a polite evasion, or maybe they haven't thought about it in a structured way.
So you probe.
You probe. Ask more pointed, specific questions. Break it down for them. The book gives a brilliant example of basically reconstructing a competitor's P&L statement piece by piece, just by persistently asking specific questions, even when the initial answer was, I have no idea.
Amazing what people actually know when prompted.
Exactly. You have to dig for that real information sometimes. Don't take the first I don't know as the final answer.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground from the McKinsey Way. So bringing it all together, what does all this deep diving mean for you listening? The entrepreneur, the business leader, maybe just the curious learner facing that flat sales problem or whatever your challenge is.
I think it fundamentally means adopting a specific mindset, a way of thinking that prioritizes clarity, facts, and really strategic approaches.
Not just reacting.
Not just reacting. For entrepreneurs especially, these principles are pure gold. Embrace being fact-based, structured, hypothesis-driven. Always dig to find the real problem, not just the surface symptom.
And don't reinvent the wheel.
Leverage existing knowledge, use frameworks, but always tailor the solution to your unique context. Be flexible. Be ready to ditch your favorite hypothesis if the facts say no.
And be realistic about implementation.
Crucially realistic. Make sure your brilliant idea actually fits your organization's capabilities, resources, politics. Because, again, the best idea is worthless if it can't actually be implemented.
And then in the execution phase, it's about working smarter.
Exactly. Work smarter, not harder. Focus your limited energy on the key drivers, the 80-20. Don't boil the ocean with unnecessary analysis.
Get your message clear with the elevator test.
Nail that core message. Grab the low-hanging fruit for quick wins and momentum. Consistently hit singles. Deliver reliable, good work day after day.
And always keep perspective.
Always look at the big picture to make sure you're still heading towards your ultimate goal. And cultivate that honesty. Say, I don't know, when you don't, but don't accept it easily from others. And plan the implementation.
It really seems like this deep dive shows that effective problem solving, whether you're McKinsey consulting for a Fortune 50 giant, or you're figuring out your startup's next move, it boils down to this powerful, disciplined combination.
It really does. It's a blend of analytical rigor and practical wisdom. As the book sums it up so well right at the end, fact-based, structured thinking combined with professional integrity will get you on the road to your business goals.
And the rest.
The rest derives from that. Go and learn.
A truly powerful thought to leave you with. We really hope this deep dive into the McKinsey Way has given you some valuable tools, some actionable insights for your own journey.
Hope it sparks some ideas.
Absolutely. And if you enjoyed this exploration, if you're hungry for more actionable wisdom from some of the world's most influential business reads, please make sure to subscribe to the Business Book Club, wherever you get your podcasts. That way you won't miss our next deep dive.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Now, that's a wrap for this episode of the Business Book Club. If you enjoyed the ride, make sure to subscribe so you'll never miss our next deep dive. Got a favorite business book you'd love us to explore? Let us know. We're always up for a good read. And hey, don't keep all these insights to yourself. Share this episode with a fellow book lover or your work buddy who's always looking to level up. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next episode.